What if everything you were taught about dinosaurs was incomplete? What if I told you that dinosaurs did not simply rule the earth and vanish in fire and ash? What if I told you they're still here? For millions of years, dinosaurs dominated this planet. They survived volcanic hell's capes, drifting continents, climate shifts, and brutal predators. They evolved into giants, into hunters, into armored tanks, into creatures more complex than we ever imagined. But then, in a single geological heartbeat, everything changed. Or did it? Over the next hour, you will discover 10 astonishing facts about dinosaurs that will completely reshape how you see them. But stay until the very end, because fact number 1 will prove something extraordinary. Dinosaurs are not gone, and once you see the evidence, you will never look at the sky the same way again. Let's go back 66 million years. Fact 10. They ruled for 165 million years. Dinosaurs didn't just exist. They dominated. For 165 million years, longer than humans, mammals, or even flowering plants have existed, dinosaurs were the rulers of Earth. To understand that scale, imagine compressing Earth's history into a single 24-hour day. Dinosaurs appear around 10:40 p.m. and rule until 11:39 p.m. Humans. We show up in the last few seconds before midnight. Dinosaurs witnessed continents tear apart, oceans form, mountains rise, entire ecosystems bloom and vanish. They weren't primitive monsters. They were evolutionary masterpieces, adapting across the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. And in that time, they diversified into more than 1,000 species we know of today, and likely thousands more we haven't discovered. Fact 9. The real Tyrannosaurus Rex. Hollywood gave us a monster. Reality gave us something even more terrifying. Tyrannosaurus Rex had a bite force exceeding 35,000 newtons, enough to crush bone like dry wood. Its vision may have rivaled that of modern hawks. Its sense of smell? Among the most advanced of any land predator in history. And despite the jokes, those tiny arms, they were incredibly strong. Rex wasn't just a scavenger. It was an apex predator engineered by evolution. Fact 8. Giants like Brachiosaurus. Imagine standing in a prehistoric forest. The ground trembles beneath your feet. Leaves rustle high above the canopy, far higher than any modern animal could reach. And then, slowly emerging from the mist, a creature appears. A giant unlike anything alive today. Brachiosaurus, one of the tallest animals to ever walk on Earth. This colossal herbivore could reach heights of nearly 40 feet, tall enough to look directly into the windows of a 4-story building. But its enormous size was not just for spectacle. It was an evolutionary advantage. Unlike other dinosaurs that grazed on low vegetation, Brachiosaurus fed on the very tops of trees. Towering conifers, ancient ginkgo trees, and giant ferns formed its daily menu. By reaching higher than other herbivores, Brachiosaurus avoided competition for food. Yet its long neck created an extraordinary challenge. Imagine pumping blood from the heart all the way up to the brain, more than 30 feet above the ground. Scientists believe the heart of Brachiosaurus may have weighed over 400 kilograms. A biological pump powerful enough to maintain circulation across an enormous body. And despite its immense size, Brachiosaurus likely moved slowly and gracefully across the landscape. Not in a hurry, not chased by many predators. After all, attacking an adult Brachiosaurus would have been incredibly dangerous. Even the most fearsome predators thought twice before confronting a giant that weighed as much as a small airplane. But these giants were not solitary creatures. Evidence from fossil tracks suggests that many sauropods traveled in herds. Groups of massive animals slowly crossing floodplains and forests, their footsteps leaving deep impressions in ancient mud. Over millions of years, these gentle giants shaped entire ecosystems. They opened forest canopies, spread seeds across vast distances, and created pathways through dense vegetation. In many ways, they were the gardeners of the Jurassic world. Fact number 7. The armored defender, Triceratops. If Brachiosaurus was the gentle giant of the Jurassic, Triceratops was the armored guardian of the late Cretaceous. At first glance, this dinosaur looked like something straight out of mythology. 3 massive horns, a wide bony frill protecting the neck, a powerful, muscular body built low to the ground. But these features were not decorative. They were weapons. The 2 long brow horns could grow more than 3 feet in length, strong enough to pierce deeply into an attacker. And attackers certainly existed. The most dangerous of them all was Tyrannosaurus Rex. Fossil evidence has revealed something extraordinary. Some Triceratops skulls show heel bite marks from Tyrannosaurus attacks, proof that these 2 giants fought each other. But the frill of Triceratops may have served more than one purpose. It could protect the neck during combat. It may also have helped regulate body temperature. And perhaps most fascinating of all, it may have been used for visual display. Different shapes and patterns could have allowed individuals to recognize members of their own species. Triceratops likely lived in groups, herds moving together across vast prehistoric plains. When danger approached, they may have formed defensive formations, adults facing outward, young protected in the center, lowering their horns, ready to charge. Imagine the thunder of several 5-ton animals rushing forward at once. Even the most powerful predator would hesitate before attacking such a wall of horns. For millions of years, Triceratops stood its ground against the greatest hunters of the dinosaur world. And in the final days of the dinosaurs, it was one of the last great giants still walking the earth. Fact 6. Dinosaurs lived everywhere on Earth. For a long time, scientists believed dinosaurs preferred warm tropical climates. But fossil discoveries have revealed something surprising. Dinosaurs lived almost everywhere on Earth. Their remains have been discovered on every continent, even Antarctica. Today, Antarctica is a frozen desert. But during the age of dinosaurs, it was very different. Dense forests cover the land. Rivers flowed through valleys, and dinosaurs walked beneath ancient trees. Yet even then, life near the poles was challenging. Months of darkness during winter, cooler temperatures than the tropics. Some dinosaurs may have migrated long distances to avoid the harshest conditions. Others likely adapted to survive the polar night. Elsewhere on Earth, dinosaurs thrived in completely different environments. Some species lived in vast deserts, others in humid swamps, still others along coastal cliffs or mountainous regions. Their ability to adapt allowed dinosaurs to dominate the planet for millions of years. They were not fragile creatures. They were resilient survivors of a constantly changing world. But eventually, a challenge arrived that no adaptation could overcome. A disaster so sudden and powerful that it changed life on Earth forever. Yet even then, a few dinosaurs would survive. Hidden, small, feathered, waiting for the world to recover. Fact 5. Feathered dinosaurs. The discovery that changed everything. For over a century, dinosaurs were imagined as giant reptiles. Scaly skin, cold-blooded bodies, slow movements. But in the 1990s, a series of fossil discoveries in northeastern China changed that image forever. Inside fine layers of volcanic ash and sediment, paleontologists discovered something extraordinary. Perfectly preserved dinosaur fossils with feathers. These fossils belong to small theropod dinosaurs, relatives of the great predators like Tyrannosaurus Rex and Velociraptor. But instead of scales, their bodies were covered in filament-like structures. Primitive feathers. Some looked like simple hair. Others formed complex branching patterns almost identical to modern bird feathers. This discovery forced scientists to rethink dinosaur biology. Feathers likely evolved long before flight. At first, they may have served a completely different purpose. Insulation. Small dinosaurs needed to maintain body heat. Feathers would have helped trap warm air close to the body. Later, feathers may have become tools for communication. Bright colors, striking patterns, displays used to attract mates or intimidate rivals. And eventually, some dinosaurs began using feathers for gliding. Small leaps between branches, short aerial descents, tiny experiments in flight. Over millions of years, these experiments would lead to one of the most important evolutionary transformations in Earth's history, the birth of birds. But that story is still unfolding. Because among the feathered dinosaurs, some were not gentle gliders. Some were hunters, fast, intelligent, and deadly. Fact 4. The real hunter, Velociraptor. Few dinosaurs are as famous as Velociraptor. Movies portray it as a large, reptilian monster. But the real Velociraptor was very different. In reality, it stood only about half a meter tall at the hip, roughly the size of a turkey. Yet despite its small size, Velociraptor was one of the most efficient predators of its time. Its body was built for speed. Long legs allowed rapid acceleration. A stiff tail acted as a counterbalance for sharp turns during pursuit. But its most famous weapon was its claw, a curved, sickle-shaped talon on each foot, about 7 centimeters long. This claw was not used for slashing wildly. Instead, scientists believe it functioned like a hook, gripping prey while the dinosaur delivered precise bites. Velociraptor was also covered in feathers. Evidence from fossils shows clear attachment points for feather structures on its forearms. This suggests that its arms were feathered wings, not capable of flight, but possibly useful for balance and maneuvering during hunts. Some scientists even believe Velociraptor may have hunted in small groups, coordinating attacks, cornering prey, using intelligence and speed rather than brute strength. In the complex ecosystems of the late Cretaceous, predators like Velociraptor filled an important role. They controlled populations, maintained balance, and demonstrated that survival in the dinosaur world required more than just size. It required strategy. Fact 2. The asteroid that ended the age of dinosaurs. 66 million years ago, something appeared in the sky. At first, it may have looked like a bright star, but it was moving, fast. An asteroid more than 10 kilometers wide, traveling at nearly 20 kilometers per second. When it struck Earth near what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, the impact released unimaginable energy, equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs. The ocean vaporized instantly. A massive crater more than 180 kilometers wide formed in seconds. Shockwaves traveled around the planet. Earthquakes triggered landslides and volcanic eruptions. Tsunamis hundreds of meters tall surged across ancient seas. But the worst effects came afterward. Debris blasted into space, rained back down through the atmosphere, igniting global firestorms. Forests burned across continents. Ash and dust filled the sky. Sunlight disappeared. For months, possibly years. Without sunlight, plants died. Without plants, herbivores starved. Without herbivores, predators soon followed. Nearly 75% of all species on Earth vanished. It was the end of the dinosaurs. Fact 1. The final truth. Dinosaurs are still alive. At the beginning of this journey, we asked a question. What if dinosaurs never truly disappeared? After decades of research, paleontologists have reached a remarkable conclusion. Birds are dinosaurs. Not relatives, not distant cousins, actual living descendants of theropod dinosaurs. The evidence is overwhelming. Hollow bones, 3-fingered limbs, feathers, wishbones, egg-laying behavior, even nesting habits. All traits shared between birds and their dinosaur ancestors. When the asteroid struck Earth, most dinosaurs could not survive the catastrophic changes that followed. But small feathered theropods had advantages. They were lightweight. Many could glide or fly. They required less food, and they could escape disaster zones more easily. Over millions of years, these survivors diversified. They spread across every continent, into forests, oceans, mountains, cities. Today, there are more than 10,000 species of birds on Earth. more than all mammals combined. Every sparrow, every pigeon, every eagle soaring through the sky. They are living dinosaurs, the last surviving branch of a lineage that ruled our planet for 165 million years. So the next time you hear a bird singing outside your window, remember this. You are listening to the voice of a dinosaur.